Thursday Night Football has officially reached halftime. The Browns are at home against the Denver Broncos, 10-0 at half. What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in. We're the only playbook. I'm Sweetcart. Got Shovit. Happy Thursday, early Friday.
Yep. We're recording today, Thursday. We typically record Fridays. What do you guys feel about this? What do you guys like, not like?
You know, I just wish it was earlier because I'm missing the game.
Yeah.
I'm missing Dearness Johnson doing Dearness Johnson things. He's got me 13.4 points right now, and I'm playing against you, Shishot.
You are. You better start crawling, baby. Better start crawling.
Yeah, so, I mean, I don't mind it. Again, I wish it was earlier as well before the game, but you have lab and other stuff. So It is what it is. We make with what we got. You guys are both out of town this weekend, so enjoy that. But anyways, thanks again for tuning in. This is episode 13. We're previewing week 7. Another big slate of games on the block. We have 6 teams in bye weeks, I believe. So a lot of fantasy maneuvering, shifting with injuries. So a lot to unpack. First things first, we had our first giveaway last week. And we had said the first 3 people to subscribe to our YouTube channel after our podcast was put up, we're going to receive a Starbucks gift card, and they had to message us on Instagram or Twitter, which I don't know. We got subscriptions, but not a lot of people messaged us, so I don't know if in terms of timing, this is the quickest in whoever were the first 3 fastest, but we appreciate the subs, but a lot of people didn't follow the second part of the rule, so I'm just going with the people that we could actually see that did that. And so our 3 winners are Scott Ashoff, Ajur Satyal, and Surit. So congratulations, guys.
Woo!
Yeah, appreciate the support, and hopefully we can do more of this, maybe like 100 subs and we do something else, so I don't know. But it's always fun to interact and engage and give back, right? So without them, we can't really put anything out.
Yeah, and we're getting questions from people about who to start on our DMs, and they're going off, so it's kind of cool to see those interactions happen and, and provide those advice.
People have infiltrated not just our social medias, but our personal medias.
Oh, is that right?
Oh, shit.
So I don't know how they're finding them, but yeah, I'm happy they are. There's a lot of, I sense this getting just better and better.
Yeah.
Because it took a while. We should have known that it's not going to be like an immediate uptick like week 1 and week 2. Kind of anticipated to go around week 4, week 5, week 6. So I think we're on the right trajectory. We're going to make it more fun. We're going to add some more fun segments for you guys. And we're going to do these giveaways to keep everybody a little bit more entertained.
Yeah, and this is the time you need those advice, right? You got bye weeks coming up. Who do I start? Who do I sit? What do I do? Help.
Yeah, exactly. And help is on the way, man. We're like the fucking Avengers of fantasy football.
Oh, I like that.
Wow, who's Black Widow?
I want to be Iron Man.
Was that the first? That's the first Avenger you thought of? Like, who's Black Widow? We can get by with none of us having to be Black Widow because there's only 3 of us. So, but no, again, absolutely, we appreciate the engagement. We're here to answer all your questions and do what we can to help out. So, thank you so much. And you just talked about it, Shovit. This is really, really crunch time in terms of week 7 with so many injuries, so many bye weeks. Let's kick it off with injuries real quick. What's on the docket so far as it is Thursday night? We still have a couple days left to go.
Just real quick on these injuries. I know you guys have a lot of sources for these injuries, but I am a doctor, and I just so happen to love football that much more. So you can go to these locations where you get these injury reports. You can see whatever you want all over the internet, but I can tell you just from my personal experience, you're not going to find better information literally anywhere else. There's a lot of podcasts that are, better than us because they've been around longer, but none of them have, an MD or a DO after their name. So how much credibility can you really get from their reports of their injuries? We've had some where, people have called some weird stuff. Like we said this Monday that Baker Mayfield, there's no way he was going to play. I was pretty certain about that. And then Tuesday we get reports from one of the most famous podcasts out there saying our resources tell us Baker Mayfield is on pace to play. That just throws it all off. Yeah. So instead of you guys having to jump around for all this information, we are getting better. We are getting more information out there for you guys. So if you guys want to stay with us as far as, injuries, buy stock, sell stock, all kinds of information, stick with us. You're not going to regret it. That being said, injuries, Damian Williams, he was not vaccinated.
Oh, we got the answer to our question because we were thinking about that last week.
Yeah, so he wasn't vaccinated. I knew it took a little bit longer than expected, right? We're like, why don't we know if he can play or not? That's because he wasn't vaccinated. So he can't be cleared until Saturday at the latest. And that's if he gets 2 back-to-back negatives, which I don't know if it's going to happen. And at this point, Herbert's playing so well that why would you even risk it, right?
Yep.
They just unfortunately they have a little bit of a tough matchup. So, don't put them at the top of the who you want to start, like these two running backs, if you have them, and
playing against Tampa Bay.
Exactly,
right?
exactly. Yeah. They stuff run like people stuff turkeys.
So
yeah, just be aware. If you have Damien Williams, you're likely not going to be playing him, but we don't know for sure. So stay tuned Saturday morning. Tyreek Hill, not at practice today, quad injury, but I would not worry. The only reason I even mentioned it is because he's a big name and people are probably freaking out with all these bye week situations. Should I bench him? Should I start him? You don't have the luxury to bench Tyreek Hill. No matter, even if he doesn't play Sunday morning, surprises you, don't feel bad because there's really no room to bench Tyreek Hill at this point. A.J. Brown did not practice. Julio Jones was limited, which is opposite of what I had expected. Julio Jones, much older, pulled his hamstring, was out for last game, but he was limited in practice. So I have zero trust in Julio Jones. Even during this bye week, I would be more aware to find somebody else to start instead of Julio Jones because you just can't trust him at this point.
Yep.
A.J. Brown, if he does play, I am starting him. He played pretty well last week. He had like 9 catches against a tough Bills defense. So that DNP, the did not practice for A.J. Brown, is more precautionary. They're already down so many players. Why risk him getting hurt more? Latavius Murray did not practice. Maybe stash Freeman. Since, it's such a weird week.
Yeah.
You can't really go wrong with picking up running backs this week. Historically, this is probably the weirdest week in fantasy football history, at least the last 12 years that I've played. It's chaos. It's not just injuries with top players, but top running backs are out this week. Top quarterbacks are out this week. So
a lot of buys.
So stash Freeman if you can. Freeman's first name? Devonta Freeman. Antonio Gibson, limited yet again. I was a little surprised that he was even limited. Not sure what's going on. They're not revealing this MRI results. Usually they reveal it within 2 days. It's been much longer than that, and they have not told us what's going on. So it's just keep in mind.
Sounds sketch.
Yeah, it is. Sketch. It is very. That whole organization is sketch.
There's so much going on.
Yeah, they're getting investigated by the feds now
for drugs and shit.
Yeah,
yeah. I mean,
it's pretty crazy.
It'd be a total collapse there.
Sterling Shepard is back on the injury report with his hammy. I think this is just a Thursday thing. They don't have the luxury of benching Sterling Shepard because Kadarius Toney is probably not going to play. He's doubtful to play.
Yeah.
And Slayton, who knows? But Shepard is their go-to guy. If he can play, you will start him. But if he does not play, it's because of this random hamstring injury that's now on the injury report. Barkley and Golladay on the same team. Toney all did not practice, and I fully expect none of them to play. What's funny is Evan Ingram had so many opportunities last week with all these players out.
Yep.
He still didn't do anything, and he ended up being on the injury report. So
what a waste of space.
Yeah, literally biggest waste of space. If you're listening to this, Evan Ingram, you are a waste of space. I am so sorry.
I'm sure he's a great person.
Yeah, but space.
Yeah,
we're talking football, not people.
We're talking matter.
Yeah,
you don't matter.
Yeah. Yikes.
Alex Collins practiced today. He got banged up at the end of the last game. People were wondering because Penny's coming in. He's fully healthy. Who's going to start? Alex Collins did the majority of the ball control today in practice. So Penny owners are probably, iffy. This is not something we can tell you what to do today. This is going to have to be a Sunday morning or a Saturday information. So, keep in mind for Alex Collins because if you have him, you're likely going to have to start him depending on how messed up your roster is because of this week. So keep an eye out for that. Jimmy G with the calf issue is back at practice. And what this means is increasing numbers for the wide receivers, increasing numbers for the running backs.
Yep.
Because Lance comes in and he just takes all the running backs' carries, making them irrelevant because the volume is the name of the game, right? If you're not getting volume, you're not useful. And Jimmy G is going to be very, very helpful to the wide receivers out there. There's not very many, but he'll make things a little bit better there. Those are the main injuries as of today. There's going to be much more intense reports out for the rest of the week. So stay tuned. And again, check on our Twitter. At this point, if you don't have the notifications on, I don't know what you're doing with your life. Today, I had a friend, Danny, who I'm going to see this weekend. He had Peoples-Jones starting, and he had landed, and he was doing all his airport stuff. He's like, I'm going to get to watch some of the game, blah, blah, blah. He failed to check the last-minute reports, and Peoples-Jones pulled his groin. He pulled his groin 5 to 10 minutes before the game started. So
pre-game warm-ups.
Right. And we made some effort to get that in there as soon as possible before the first snap, and we did that. So, there's little things like that where we are on top of things like seriously on top of things. So if you want up-to-date information, especially the critical ones, maybe like not the Wednesday news because it's not really that important, but anything after Thursday, especially Fridays and Saturdays, we will be on top of it. So make sure you not only follow us, but turn the notifications on.
Yeah, at Only Playbook on Twitter. So, again, appreciate the love, the support. At this point, we're putting out information that's prevalent to you guys. So, notifications on. Absolutely. Let's jump into buy stock, sell stock. This week's a little bit different. We've already talked about it, and it's going to be the theme of the episode as a whole is injuries and bye weeks, right? There's so many people injured. Big time people are injured.
Yeah.
There's so many big time players and teams on bye weeks. So fantasy implications are kind of shifting this week. So instead of doing buys and sells, I'm going to just give you 3 guys that I'm buying. This is more so, again, catered around the fact that we know this is a bye week. So it's really, really important to pick up the right guys because, there's certain expectations. People have this expectation that if you have a big bye week with your team, you're just accepting defeat, and that's not the case.
Let's talk about that before you get in, okay?
Yep.
So we have some friends and family that are, they apparently drafted.
It's on this
just so you can take an L, right?
Yep.
So the name of the game is any week, anything can happen.
Yep.
You could potentially play a guy who had bad matchups, but now you're setting yourself up for failure because you don't have anybody to play. So I think that's a terrible strategy. I would not promote that. It makes sense if you want to take an L, but maybe it's my personality. Taking an L is not that. Why take an L when it's such a dynamic season? Things can happen. You can get people injured. You're going to be replacing players all the way till now.
Yep.
Why would you just expect that roster to be the same roster the whole time? It's foolish. I have 3 guys on my starting lineup right now that I drafted. The rest are pickups. So, with that strategy, it works for people that are never changing their lineups at all. But with people that are dynamically changing, picking up, trading, that doesn't work very well. You just set yourself up for an L. There's just no room to win there. So I'm not a big fan of that. If you're ever out there wondering what that strategy can do for you, it's not going to work for majority of the people.
And by that strategy, again, we're referencing drafting so that your entire team has almost the exact same bye.
Right.
So it's accepting defeat that week and setting yourself up in theory to be successful.
And also, what if your choices were like Mahomes and Russell Wilson, right? And you're like, ooh, but my bye week works with Russell Wilson more. So, it just makes no sense.
Yeah.
I am not a fan of that at all.
There's no strategy. The fantasy football is week to week. Every week matters because every win matters. You don't know how many wins it's going to take to make the playoffs. And so accepting defeat or being like, oh, I can't drop this guy because if I drop him and pick somebody else up, someone else is going to pick him up. So I'm just going to leave an empty roster spot, etc. Because I had to pick up a wide receiver 2 off the streets. In off the streets, straight up went out to Dallas, started looking for guys to put on my team because my team is so decimated in bye week. So, but I had to drop somebody like Kadarius Toney. Tough decision because when he's healthy, he's looked insane.
Right.
But he's doubtful this week. That team's kind of shitty anyways, and I'm not accepting defeat in a week when I don't have to.
Right. It's about the now, right?
Yeah. It's ridiculous. So, if you are doing something like that, we are completely against that. We just don't think long-term that makes any sense at all. So, again, I'm going to give you guys 3 guys that I'm actually buying this week. There are going to be no sells because some teams are so desperate that they can't afford to sell anybody anyways. So, first guy I'm buying, this is one of the guys that I'd considered picking up, AJ Green. AJ Green, receiver for the Cardinals. They're playing the Houston Texans. They have a very, very favorable matchup. The one thing to note with the Arizona Cardinals and AJ Green is they have so many different mouths to feed. They just acquired Zach Ertz, right? So another mouth to feed. We've seen one week where Christian Kirk goes off. We've seen one week where AJ Green goes off. They obviously have Hopkins. They have Max Williams. They have Zach Ertz. And they even throw the ball to Chase Edmonds. And so they literally spread the ball as much as possible. Kyler Murray takes a lot of yards away from running. And so with that being said, though, this is a week where you're just looking for somebody you can pick up that's not going to give you like a goose egg, right? That's the worst thing is you pick somebody up and they give you 0. So AJ Green is averaging 10.4 points per game in half-point PPR this week. And he was a free agent, right? And that's double digits, and we talk about that all the time. Typically in standard leagues, double-digit points are good. You want double-digit points, and that's great. But in bye weeks, in half-point PPR, you'll probably still be okay with a guy picking up and getting you double-digit points.
Yeah.
So he's averaging 10.4 points in half-point PPR leagues, and he's only rostered in 37% of leagues. And so he's definitely out there in a lot of people's free agency, and he's a great guy to pick up just because the consistency is there. He's not like a no-namer, right? He's proven success, and Kyler Murray has shown to like him at times. And he can beat most teams' number 2, number 3 cornerbacks. He still has that capability. And so for that reason, we talk about who's on a bye. I mean, you think about how much shortage there is at receiver this week. You have all the Bills receivers on a bye. You have all the Cowboys receivers on the bye. You have all the Vikings receivers on a bye, Steelers, Chargers, and Jags. So there's so many receivers that are on byes that I think this week A.J. Green is a good play. So I am buying A.J. Green this week. Any thoughts to that?
No,
I like that.
You explained everything.
Yeah. Okay. So next buy, this is a little bit under the radar. Rashad Bateman, receiver for the Ravens. I am also buying him this week. Couple of reasons why. I'm sure name-wise, you could probably find other guys who you'd think you're more likely going to play. But I was high on Rashad Bateman coming into the season. Getting drafted in the first round. Ravens had been looking for a number one receiver because Hollywood Brown is not the number one receiver. He's not a number one receiver. And so force feeding Mark Andrews has worked, some weeks, and, Lamar takes care of the rest. But looking for a guy who's got the size, who can take you over the top, who's got sure hands, who can be trusted in third down, that's something that's been missing for a guy like Lamar Jackson. And he's a rookie, first game back after an injury, 6 targets. And I think that's for limited snaps. I think he only played like 65%. 6 targets on that, especially 2 specific plays. I remember one was a 3rd and like 13, and he trusted him, and one was another 3rd down. So he's looking at him in crucial situations, and that already tells me that there's some chemistry built there, and there's some trust. Because, again, he's got size. So if Andrews isn't open on 3rd down, who's he going to go to if he needs some sure yards? Hollywood Brown or somebody with the bigger size, better hands, obviously, right now, because Brown hasn't proven that. So with all that in mind, obviously also knowing that these leagues are deep, 12, 14-man leagues, and a lot of the receivers we talk about may already be rostered, I have a good feeling Bateman's not rostered in a lot, right? So he is definitely out there. I think he's trending up. I think they're going to try to work him more into that offense. And for all those reasons, I am buying Rashad Bateman this week as well.
Cool. Real quick, the Broncos are in the red zone. They're moving the ball pretty well through the air.
Okay.
Running the ball here and there. Melvin Gordon's been in the drive for the whole time. So they're in the red zone. Just a heads up.
It's 10-0 still?
Yeah.
Is that the first drive of the second half?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. We'll keep you guys posted on that. So the last buy, again, I mentioned all those teams that are on buys. 4 of those quarterbacks are like top 10 in fantasy football. So there's 4 quarterbacks that you're arguably needing to replace for a bye week. The best quarterback that I see kind of in the free agencies in both the leagues that I'm in is Matt Ryan. I think Matt Ryan this week, going against Miami, he's 23rd against opposing quarterbacks, and they're trending down. Like they're getting worse and worse week by week, their defenses. I think he's a great buy.
And Matt Ryan's trending up.
Yes, exactly. And Matt Ryan is trending up. That offense figured it out a week where they were without a couple of key players, and so you expect now with Ridley being back, why would they not get better? And that defense is doing nothing. The Miami Dolphins defense has done absolutely nothing. Their cornerbacks have been hurt. And so I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity for big plays, for touchdowns. And Matt Ryan, again, still with given time, he's proven that he can still play, right? He can still play. He's been there. And so he's got a really favorable matchup. He's on a lot of free agency lists. And so I think he's a good play this week. And so for that reason, I'm going to absolutely buy Matt Ryan as well.
Yeah, it's a good buy. I like that.
Yeah. So again, there's not much room to sell this week, so there are no players I'm selling. Everybody's trying to scramble to put 9 guys that they can play, and so for that reason, we are just going to end it on 3 buys this week. Let's jump right into the slate of games. First game, again, we talked about it. It's currently going on. The Broncos are in the red zone. 2nd and goal at the 8. They're down 10-0 to the Cleveland Browns in the 3rd quarter. So we'll keep you guys updated as things happen. The first game on the board on Sunday is going to be the Cincinnati Bengals. Big matchup here, divisional matchup. 2 really good teams. The Bengals 4-2 traveling to Baltimore. They're taking on the Ravens. Ravens are 5-1. They are favored at home by 6.5 points. Over/under is 46.5. This is a big game. This could be a marquee matchup.
Yeah, definitely. Looking at this game, seeing that the Bengals or the Ravens are favored at 6.5, I feel like it's a little disrespectful to the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah. Put some respect on their
name. Some respect on their game. The Cincinnati Bengals have a solid defense, right? Yeah. Overall, 8th in the NFL. So they'll have to stop Lamar Jackson, and Joe Burrow, man, is touchdown.
Touchdown, Melvin Gordon.
Wow.
Let's go.
There's going to be a replay, though, but anyways, continue.
Yeah. No, Joe Burrow, definitely a capable quarterback. The Ravens defense is not the best in the NFL either. So I think that this 6.5 points, if as a bet, I would definitely want to take Cincinnati Bengals. Give me the points, 6.5. I'm taking Bengals.
Cool. Yeah, I think one thing that you mentioned is The Ravens defense has been nothing spectacular.
Right.
People are probably going to look to last week and be like, well, they shut down the Chargers 6 points.
One game.
The reason why that's different in my eyes is the Chargers are a pass-first team predicated at using Eckler in more passing situations. He doesn't get like a workload in terms of rushing carries that a typical, number one RB1 would get. And so the Bengals do a better job, in my opinion, getting Joe Mixon involved in establishing the run. So that setting up the pass is going to create more opportunities for the Bengals. Their offense is absolutely clicking. They have the receivers. Joe Burrow's the real deal, man. I think Joe Burrow is going to be in the league for over a decade, and he's going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the league. So
and don't count Joe Mixon out.
Yeah,
right? They're running the
exactly.
ball well with Joe Mixon. Perrin is getting his every now and then. So they've got a pretty good backfield, and with that receiving core, I like Cleveland at least to cover the spread.
You mean Cincinnati?
Cincinnati to
sorry.
cover the spread for sure. What are your thoughts on this game?
I'm going to go on the other end of this. I think the Ravens are clicking. I think they've played their worst football, and they still find ways to win the game. We have not seen the best of the Ravens yet, which is scary. Their defense is waking up. Lamar Jackson has found Rashad Bateman, which just solidifies that extra role that you just talked about earlier. Same thing with the Eagles, where they don't have that one guy. They all have a bunch of little guys running around, but there's not one huge guy that they can rely on. He's got that now, and he's at home. So I think, and I would say he's probably one of the best coaches as well. Harbaugh has been a legend. They even win preseason games. I mean, you think you would talk about that and be like, that's so insignificant. But the fact that he just doesn't lose, it's such a crazy mentality that they have in that organization. And at home, I know the Bengals are good. You guys aren't wrong about any of that stuff you said. They are good, but they are a little bit younger. The Ravens are a more established team, and I think they're peaking for that reason. I think the Ravens win this game.
Yeah. Again, I can definitely see a world where the Ravens win. I just think 6.5 points is a lot. So I think the Bengals will keep it tight.
Yeah.
But Ravens at home definitely going to be tough. Over-under seems, at 46.5, we've seen both these teams capable of putting up points. I would lean over.
It's like the Ravens could definitely start off and have an explosive game, do well, but then they could also start slow, kind of like what they did with the Colts. So for me, I wouldn't want any part of that over and under. I think it could go either way.
Yeah, absolutely. Ravens at home, going to be tough for the Bengals. It's going to be probably one of their bigger tests to see if they're the real deal, right? Getting to 5-2 would be huge. They'd be tied with the Ravens with owning the tiebreaker at that point, which would put them atop the division. Yeah. So this is literally for first place.
They've never been 6-1 in their
Ravens.
Yeah, Ravens
ever.
This is the first 6-1 Ravens that
could possibly
be. So
okay, 5-1. So that's another little storyline to watch out for. So good implications on both sides. Again, first game on the board could possibly be the marquee matchup. The Washington football team, extremely struggling football team. They're traveling to Lambeau Field. Doesn't get any easier with Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, who are hot at 5-1. Favored by 7.5 coming into this game. Over under 48.5. Packers are going to be without their offensive tackle, Josh Myers, but nothing really seems to slow down Aaron Rodgers. I know he's started off the season slow, even though the Packers are 5-1, but his plays seem to kind of get better as the season's gone along.
Yeah.
What do you guys like in this one?
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, you said it right. Like Aaron Rodgers and that Packers offense is rolling, and Washington's, 32nd worst.
They're like tumbling.
Yeah, the worst defense in the NFL with 4 first-rounders in that defensive line, but can't seem to figure it out. Will not be able to, I think will not be able to, sack Aaron Rodgers. I don't see any way that Aaron Rodgers and the Packers don't come out on top of this.
Yeah, I'm on board with that, especially because there's also been a huge uptick in Dylan's play.
Yep. Looks good too.
That's scary because I feel like one of the weaker things that the Packers had was they've always had a complimentary back to Aaron Jones. And this year they tried to just unleash the whole thing on Aaron Jones, but they quickly realized that he can't just he's not Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
He can't, and he does a better job catching the ball as well. So now if they can use somebody else to establish the run and just not wear down their best running back, they become even more lethal. And if you look at the details, Dylan's actually running really, really well. I think he's like top 12 as far as yards after contact. I don't know. It's one of those, but the signs tell me that they're not stopping using Dylan anytime soon, and that's just going to make them a better team.
Yeah, I wonder what kind of fantasy implications we're looking at. So like Aaron Jones' stock kind of plummeting a little bit, or do you think he'll probably still get his, right?
Yeah, he'll still get his.
Yeah.
He'll still get his.
Yeah, I like everything I've seen from Dylan on the field is to like, right? Mm-hmm. So they have the luxury of having two guys that can get it done. Again, it just puts another weapon on the field for Aaron Rodgers at that point, another person for the defense to have to account for. So it's going to be tough. Washington football team looks really bad. Their defense is awful, can't stop anybody. Heineke's been very, very just erratic, kind of like we expected. And that's, there's that situation with Antonio Gibson. I don't know. There's just not a lot for this team to ride on right now to see them come into Green Bay and somehow come out victorious. There's really no blueprint that I'm seeing that they can get that done.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't think there is one just because there's too many question marks. Gibson, they basically put their whole team on his back, and that was too much to bear. He broke a bone or got a fracture, stress fracture. And there's just too many question marks. There's from a fantasy perspective, there's way too many question marks here. I would just stay away from this team. Mm-hmm. But then again, it is this week where it's hard. It's tough to bench your second round pick. Some people's first round pick.
Yep. Yeah, it's a tough call when like Gibson's might get the start, but then McKissick is also there. Yeah. Yep. So do you start McKissick? Do you start Gibson?
I'm starting McKissick.
Yeah, I would 100% start McKissick, especially if you're in PPR. I mean, that's a no-brainer.
The game script is going to favor McKissick by a mile.
Yep, they're going to be throwing. They're going to be behind.
We've seen that Gibson used to be a wide receiver, but he's shown nothing that he can catch the ball. Yeah. He just can't catch the ball. Like we've seen multiple times he's dropping touchdowns.
That's probably why he made the shift to running back.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So for this reason, they're going to be down at Green Bay. It's just this is a McKissick game.
Yep. And McKissick looks really, really good.
Right.
Like when he gets the ball, electric things happen. And right now, Gibson's hobbled up and he's dropped passes. It's just, I don't know. I'm almost, even if they're like Gibson will play, I would start McKissick over Gibson.
Right. I mean, I've been telling you guys for the last 4 weeks to trade Antonio Gibson if you have him. Like it's just this too much to bear with. Yeah. Injuries, underproduction. Yeah. His numbers are okay. But it's about the ADP, right? Like I drafted you as my best running back. It's just you're not playing like my best running back. Even the games where you get 70-plus yard screen pass for touchdowns, the next possession, you drop an easy touchdown catch. Yep. So it's just all signs are pointing towards, like, don't be blinded by those few good games McKissick or Gibson's had. Mm-hmm. I'm terrified about what the productivity of this guy is going to be for the rest of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. Packers should come away with this. They're going to be looking really good at 6-1.
And then they face Arizona.
Is that who they play after that?
Yeah, they face Arizona and then Kansas City as away games after that.
So their schedule's getting tougher.
It's getting tougher.
Yeah, they've had kind of an easy schedule coming into this week, especially. And this again should be an easy matchup. But again, it's the NFL. Any given week, anything can happen. Let's go Washington football team. The Falcons are going to be at the Dolphins here. Falcons coming in with 2-3. Dolphins 1-5. Dolphins still haven't figured out who their quarterback's going to be yet because clearly they're not convinced Tua is the future when there's even more ramped up rumors that Deshaun Watson could be on his way there.
Yeah. I'm not convinced on Deshaun Watson coming there. I think it's fake news for now. I'll know it when I see it that Deshaun Watson's coming.
Yeah, I saw you picked up Deshaun Watson.
I did.
He's not going to be able to play.
No, I know. So I
you just wanted to keep him?
I picked him up because you texted that, and I was immediately like, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and pick him up just for shits and giggles. But the whole premise of that is it's got to suck being Tua and also hearing that. Even if it's just noise, these rumors they resurfaced recently, right? So they've been going on for a while. So you got to be like, I'm the quarterback of your team. Like, you drafted me. I'm supposed to be the franchise guy, and you're still thinking about trading for somebody else. And so, like, what does that do to your morale if you're Tua at that point?
I mean, if you're Kobe, you start playing better.
If you're Kobe, that conversation would never happen.
Yeah, there would never be a conversation to be had there.
Yeah. I think it should just, bring his, not morale up, but he should realize that he's also playing through an injury. Right.
There's a difference between what he should do because, yes, from a third party's perspective, he should think logically, but you're not in his position where he's on the verge of making a multi-million-dollar contract and he has so much pressure because he's drafted as the savior of a franchise that's been fucking shitting the bed.
It's clear that he's not the savior.
Exactly.
It's clear he's not the savior, but it's not all just his fault either.
Right? I agree.
This team is just bad. They're
dysfunctional as shit.
We talked about how bad Washington football team's defense is. I would argue Dolphins' defense is worse in every aspect. They're just bad, and they haven't been playing like really hard teams.
No.
So I don't really understand what's going on in Miami, but all I do know is the Falcons are going to feast this game. I would probably start every single startable player on the Falcons.
I'm starting Matt Ryan this week.
Yeah.
You're buying him.
I bought him. I bought him so much that I ordered his jersey. It's gonna be coming in time for Sunday,
just for week 1, and then
just for one bye week.
It goes in the side of your closet.
Real quick, injury update. Von Miller is out for the rest of the game. He's probably going to be out 2 to 4 weeks.
Yikes.
If it's a good injury. If it's a bad injury, he could be out much longer.
Even with him in there, they were getting gashed on the run.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. Broncos were fake news from the get-go, and they're proving more and more why they are fake news.
Yeah. So, as far as the Falcons go, I think that they'll put the points on the board, and I'm going to pick Matt Ryan over Tua. And I think that, Falcons
2.5, they should cover that. If they're going to win the game, you expect victories to be by 3 points or more.
But what about the other end? Because the Falcons' defense is not that good either.
No.
Right? So do you feel comfortable starting Myles Gaskin this week?
Because it's a bye week?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. Tua loves dumping the ball off. Tua loves dumping the ball off. Gaskin catches a shit ton of passes. It's a bye week. Falcons defense is really bad. Falcons are going to be able to put up points, so everything is coming full circle here, which means I think Gaskin,
unless they just don't use him.
Yeah, exactly. Unless they're like Salvin Ahmed is going to be our guy this week.
Malcolm Brown.
Which seems to be what they like to do.
They like Malcolm Brown.
They don't like to win games.
Yeah. They're clearly tanking. They see the talent in their running back, and they're like, we're going to put you third on the depth chart, bro. Like, it makes no sense.
Yeah, this is a pretty obvious tank. I don't know. All these rumors are coming up, and actually, they're not even rumors anymore. There's been multiple teams, multiple reporters from multiple teams talking about this trade. So this is a legitimate trade. Yeah. It's happening. I just don't know when.
Yeah, they've intensified, and I think the problem is they're not getting the same offer that they were going to get prior to the draft, and so now the Texans are going to have to obviously just take whatever they can get, because if Watson's a waste of space there, waste of money, they need to at least get collateral back for him. And so they're not going to get the most favorable thing, which means, I don't know, Watson could get put in a pretty good situation. And I mean, I don't know if Miami's a good situation, but I think he gives them a better chance long-term in the future to succeed than Tua.
Yeah. And now he can, if his stock goes down, there's better teams that are in play now, right?
Exactly.
So now, like he probably doesn't even want this trade to happen yet. He's probably going to find more allegations against him and put him out there so he can go play for the Patriots.
Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
He has a no trade clause as well.
Oh, he does. Yeah.
Cool.
So he'd have to agree to the trade. So that, I mean, the power is slowly shifting in his hands, which is crazy to say. But we'll see. Yeah, I think the Falcons are going to take care of business. Ridley's back. Pitts finally had his coming out party last week. And then you have obviously Mike Davis. You have Cordero Patterson still.
Yeah.
Matt Ryan. Horrible defense on the other side. Falcons should take care of it.
Yep.
How excited I'm sure Dheeraj is going to be listening to that segment.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
The Jets, the 1-4 Jets, are going to be traveling to New England. They're taking on the 2-4 Patriots. Patriots are favored at home by 7 points. 42.5 is the over-under. This is the second game in which they've played each other already this year. Patriots won the first game 25-6. That was the Patriots' defense most points scored this week. And so they absolutely dominated that matchup. Do we expect anything different? Have weeks progressed where Zach Wilson has been like, okay, I've already seen this defense once. I've got a little bit of NFL under my belt, and I can actually make a statement in Foxborough?
So my counterpart here, huge Jets guy here, he's starting the Jets defense against the New England Patriots?
Bam.
As of right now.
Okay. Tell me more about what's going on there.
Yeah. Well, as far as the Jets defense goes, the matchup is the reason why. I mean, they scored points last week with the Cowboys, but other than that, that offense isn't something that produces a lot of points. So for me, it's a favorable matchup. But I might change that. It's just a streaming option for right now. But your question was whether this is going to be similar to the first game, 26-3, and I don't think that would be the case. The Patriots are at home, but they're 0-4 at home right now. I think that Zach Wilson has had games under his belt where he can, get a better read of what the defense is doing. And so I think personally that the Jets are going to keep it competitive. That spread to me, 7.5, right?
7 is what
7.
It's 7. Yeah.
It just seems, if it's 7.5, I think I would take the under 7. You get the push if it's a touchdown game, obviously. But I don't like that. I don't like that spread. I don't like Patriots winning by more than 7 points.
Okay, that's fair. That's totally fair.
Touchdown Browns?
Huh?
Touchdown Browns?
Touchdown Browns. The fullback just caught a pass from Case Keenum.
I needed Keenum to run one in, man.
He ran one in, then he fumbled, but his knee was down. So he's lucked out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Anyways, back to the Patriots. What do you guys think about their starting options? Because the Jets' defense is not a joke. Everything else about the Jets is a joke. They're 32nd in offense, 30th in passing, 32nd in rushing, but their defense is 7th. So what do we expect from the Patriots' startable fantasy options here?
I don't know. I mean, Damian Harris has been playing well. Again, especially in a week like this, he's probably the only guy on their side that's a must start. Or I wouldn't think twice matchup wise, especially given that it's this week. Outside of that, I mean, Ramondre Stevenson's out there. I know people are looking to start him possibly. Again, it's really, really thin this week, so he's not bad. Jacoby Myers has been really nice at times. And Hunter Henry's emerged over Jonnu Smith, right? I think if you're looking at a tight end play, Hunter Henry's in play. But yeah, again, we just have this image of the Jets being like just absolutely piss poor. But like you said, their defense is not bad. And so, I don't know. I'm sure there are other options against other teams that are more favorable, even though people just think Jets and they think awful. And so those are the guys that I'm thinking of. Is there anybody else that I'm missing or anybody else that you would think of?
No.
Mac Jones, I don't think anybody would really start him. There's better options out there.
There's definitely better options. And one more thing, the rookie quarterbacks are 0-12 on the road versus the Patriots in the Bill Belichick era. So again, I know the Jets are getting better, but the Patriots have to win a game at home, right? And
they're not going to keep losing at home,
right? So I think this has to be an emphasis game. It just has to. I mean, if you're going to win your home game against, like Tom Brady said, like he owns the color green. There's a lot of lineage just behind Tom Brady. It's not just Tom Brady. There's a lot of Bill Belichick in play here, and I think this Bill Belichick also owns the Jets. So, I mean, I think this should be an emphasis game for the Patriots.
Yeah, I just don't expect it to be a blowout, personally. I mean, like, I don't know, 21-17, something like that, Patriots. But that 7 points is tough for me to say.
I'll take the blowout. I'm gonna go with the blowout here.
Okay. The Jets just don't put up enough points. Like their method of scoring is kind of shitty, and so on the road it's getting colder in Foxborough. Zach Wilson, I don't know. It's tough. I mean, he already struggled at home against his same defense. Now he's on the road in Foxborough against them in colder weather. I don't know. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. The Panthers, the 3-3 Panthers, are going to travel to New York. They're taking on the G-Men, 1-5 coming into this game. Panthers on the road favored by 3, over-under sitting at 43. Panthers, after, literally putting on an absolute dropping clinic last week against the Vikings, 8 drops as a team. Guys like Robbie Anderson, DJ Moore, sure-handed players just look like they didn't know how to catch the ball. So they're trending in the wrong direction. The Giants have a slew of injuries we've already kind of touched on. These teams are battered. These teams are beaten. Who has the enough morale here to come out victorious?
Yeah, Panthers have lost 3 straight after going 3-0, right? So fake news Panthers.
Sounds like there's a trend here with the fake news.
Yeah, and Sam Darnold making his way back to that same stadium that he used to play at.
Making my way downtown.
That was great. That was really good. So it should be if Tony was in, Saquon Barkley's in, and Kenny Galladay's in, I think this becomes a more competitive game.
Right.
With those guys out, it's tough for me to say that the Giants keep this close. I think the Panthers figured this one out. I know that Anderson didn't have a good game last week. Neither did Sam Darnold, but I think they have a bounce back game against the Giants this week.
Yeah, that's exactly what I would say. There's nothing here that points me to believe the Giants will do anything here. I don't understand how. How are you going to do this? How do they move the ball?
Yeah, the Panthers' defense is good, right? Coming into last week, the Vikings torched them. Shout out to the Vikings. But outside of that, the Panthers' defense is no joke. The Giants have so many injuries. And even without those injuries, the Panthers' defense is still no joke. And the Giants are 1-5. There's just it's going to be really, really too much pressure on Daniel Jones with nobody to throw to.
And and then their left tackle's out, right? The Giants' left tackle,
right?
So that's even less time to throw for that poor guy.
God.
So I mean, it's just if I'm a betting man, I'm not touching the Giants at all this game.
Yeah, you're getting only 3 points with the Panthers, which seems favorable there. Even money line -150. Open up a parlay there and get that started. The Chiefs are 3-3. This is going to be a great game at Tennessee. Tennessee's 4-2, coming off that impressive victory against the Bills last Monday night. Kansas City coming in favored 4.5, over under sitting at 57.5. man, we talked time and time again about Kansas City's inability to cover spreads. This year, not only are they not covering spreads, but they've already had 3 losses under their belt. Why are they getting 4.5 points at Tennessee when Tennessee just came off an impressive victory against the Bills? And Tennessee is a team that literally runs the ball. The Chiefs have no defense.
There's got to be something that we don't know.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like we still have to realize how powerful this offense is. Like, there's
no doubt.
Like, the Bills come, the Bills go. I get that. The Bills are still a powerhouse because they have the luxury of being so good at both ends of football.
Yeah.
The Chiefs have to win games on their offense. Everything is on their offense, and they have a quarterback that can handle that kind of pressure. Yeah, he throws weird plays. I get that, but I'm all for it. If you want to throw more of those, Mahomes, go for it. If that means getting that weird crazy pass to Tyreek Hill from halfway across the field.
Yeah.
Like, we'd be having a different conversation right now if that wasn't Patrick Mahomes, because that pass would not be completed by pretty much anybody else.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. So the thing is, I think that's why the Chiefs are just like that 3-3 record. I don't even look at it like it's 3-3. You know, no part of those 3 losses really scare me. Like, I'm still on board at the same level I was week 1. It's expected. We expected this defense to be bad. We didn't expect it to be this bad, but there were some signs that they kind of improved last week. So we'll see. They're ranked second in offense, second in passing. They're now 9th in rushing. They've established a run. You can significantly say that they like
Darrell Williams,
yeah,
right?
They like running the ball. Darrell Williams is a huge upgrade from CEH in my eyes. And they're playing against a poor defense on Titans' end, you know. So, you know, I mean, but it's Derrick Henry.
It's Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry, just every argument you have with any game is just completely thrown out the window when Derrick Henry's in the picture because they're just crazy.
Yeah, I think... Yeah, there's not you don't fret if you're a Chiefs fan. It's too early in the season. They're too talented. They're going to figure it out. But the part that they still haven't figured out, and yes, they looked better last week against a horrible Washington football team, is defense.
Right.
And Derrick Henry literally just ran it down the Buffalo Bills' throats. The Buffalo Bills' throats, who is a solid defense, way better at stopping the run than the Chiefs. And so the problem in this game could turn out to be, you know, time of possession. It could be the Mahomes doesn't see the field enough, right?
Yeah.
They could score really quickly on one play, but then their defense just gets worn down by Derrick Henry driving it 9 minutes down the field. So the way this game goes is going to be important. And like we were just talking about, the Chiefs have started to like to run the ball. This seems like a game where they're going to have to continue to do that because the Chiefs also need to stay on the field to keep Derrick Henry off the field.
Right.
Don't let him get going. Keep him off the field, right? And so this will be interesting because the Chiefs are going to have to play a formula where a lot of defenses are like giving them the underneath stuff. They're letting them run the ball. And I think this is a game where they're going to need to continue to do that. And I know with an offense so powerful, at times you're going to want to take shots. You want to throw the ball down the field to Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. And so I think, to me, this game is going to go the way the game flows. And that's going to be important for the Chiefs to either adapt and just take what the defense gives you and be patient, or Derrick Henry's just going to keep running the ball.
I think my formula for the Chiefs winning this game is to be up early, of course, to be up early. That way, you know, you can sort of, I don't even know if it's possible, but you can sort of neutralize Derrick Henry. You know, because the Chiefs, they can score on any possession, right? We've established that. They're not a team where, like, if it's like 3rd and 12, we're like worried like it's the Vikings, you know, like even though the Vikings have a good offense, I'm still worried anytime it's like 3rd and longer than 10. But the Chiefs, it's just another down. Like, you know, if they take control somehow, if they win, if they're up like 10-0, yeah, you can use Derrick Henry. I get that, but just the sheer opportunities that the Chiefs get on offense that they can score on any possession could be the formula to beating teams with Derrick Henry.
Yeah, for me, I'm looking at what's the most likely outcome. The Kansas City Chiefs have given up 133.4 yards per game on rushing this year, so which is like the 27th in the league. And you're really betting on whether or not that the defense is going to step up. And the only thing you've seen is that one game last week. Right. So I'm not convinced that the Kansas City's defense will be able to stop Derrick Henry.
Yeah, I'm not saying that at all.
And so for me, ball control is, you know, that's an important part of it. So, you know, definitely keeping it competitive, and that 4.5 spread, I'm going to take the Titans side on that one.
Yeah, they're at home. I mean, yeah, the Titans have a very good opportunity to steal one here at home. So we'll see. We'll see how this goes.
With all the Titans' flaws that we talked about and expectations, they're now sitting at 4-2. So they've taken care of business here in this recent slew, despite all of the I guess lackluster defense and everything else that they've provided. So it's going to be a fun game nonetheless. What's not going to be fun is this next game for the Lions. They're going to travel to the Rams to take on the 5-1 Rams. Lions are 0-6, still crying their way for a first victory here. Rams are favored by 15 points at home. Over-under is 50.5. Jared Goff coming home party, not really because...
Revenge game?
Yeah. Revenge game coming
On both
home
sides.
party. You guys didn't want me, so I'm going to prove it to you. Is there any world, because Vegas clearly doesn't think so, where Jared Goff actually has a revenge game and wins this game?
Yeah, no. When I said a revenge game, I was talking more about Matthew Stafford.
Yeah.
Jared Goff, God bless his soul, but I mean, there's no way the Lions win this game, right? There's
15
no way.
points.
No way.
There's no way.
No way.
No, there's none.
They just, I mean, what do they have going for them, right? Besides their running backs,
They don't even have that anymore.
No,
That's
not
been
even that,
blown out
yeah.
of proportion.
Yeah.
That was active. That argument was active for the first 2 weeks of the season,
And then defenses figure that out.
and then they got figured out.
Hawkinson, but he's hurt.
It's just the question, I guess, now is whether or not they will cover that spread of minus 15 points.
Yeah.
How much of a blowout is this going to be? And if there's any, sort of revenge from Jared Goff's perspective, like he's like, I got to get this at least down to less than 15 points. That's what's going to be the reason.
The motivation needs to be covering the spread, not winning the game. 'Cause
exactly.
That's impossible.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's got to have something to show for himself.
Yeah.
I mean, I know he's got to be upset because that whole off season he didn't hear from the Rams until it was trading time. It was like, hey, by the way, you're going to
Bye-bye.
Detroit.
Yeah,
bye.
exactly.
Right?
Houses are cheap there.
And Stafford on the other end of that just gets to sit in this luxurious offense with this offensive guru-minded head coach who's like young and like is in with the new ways, and he's got all these weapons around him that are just running 15 yards open. He's got the offensive line giving him time, so he's coming into this game like, look at the team I just was on. They're 0-6. Look at my team now, 5-1. There's literally he's just on this like euphoric high that like there's nothing that's gonna. Nothing the Lions can do in this game is going to take that out of them because they're not going to win this game. It's impossible.
They need like 6 turnovers. That's the only way.
Yeah. I again, something absolutely crazy would have to happen.
I've got a bold prediction in this game.
Okay.
Lions are going to win.
Cooper Kupp is going to have a big game.
Wow.
Wow. Hot take.
I got a bold prediction too. I'm going to go take a shit after this game.
I mean, like everyone that's Darrell Henderson should have a big game. Cooper Kupp should have a big game. I don't see anything.
Get Robert Woods the ball. Get everybody the ball. There's going to be everybody open, everybody running free. So many chances to score. That's why I picked up Amon-Ra St. Brown to start in my other league because they're going to be down.
Yeah.
They're not going to stop the Rams. They're going to be down a bunch. I know Jalen Ramsey's on the other team, but there's got to be a point where it's like 45-0 where Ramsey just doesn't give a fuck anymore, and maybe he'll just let some catches go by, Dude, like, chill out, man. You're up 45-0.
Well, just for stats and shits, whatever. Yeah. Lions have allowed 100-plus yards to Deebo Samuel, Devontae Adams, Justin Jefferson this year, and Jamar Chase was 3 yards away from 100 yards with 97. Yeah. So, I mean.
Is that going to be Kupp? Is that going to be Woods? Is that going to be Jefferson? Is that going to be Deshaun Jackson? All it takes is like 2 catches.
This is true.
Or Henderson.
Yeah, or even Henderson on that wheel route.
Receiving yards.
Man.
Oh my God, Dearness Johnson is ridiculous.
What happened?
You're going to have to watch this later.
God,
this dude is just not going down. He's not going down. Look at this.
Dude's a real deal.
He's not going down.
If there's ever a game to not go down, it's this game. This is awesome. Great pickup.
Yeah, he looks like the real deal for sure, and he's the 3rd running back in that depth chart. What's insane to
he's gonna Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb.
Yeah, he's gonna be on a different team here.
Yeah,
shortly.
he's gonna be getting an opportunity elsewhere. But the Rams should take care of the Lions. That is not gonna be a game. We don't expect it to. The Eagles are traveling to Vegas to visit the Raiders. Eagles coming in 2-4. Vegas now 4-2. Raiders at home only favored by 3. Over under does not say. We don't have the over-under on this one here.
The Raiders.
Let's try to guess it. It's in the 40s. I'm gonna guess 48.
That's a good guess. I think. Yeah, but for me, the Raiders had a solid game last week. Mm-hmm. However, I don't think that's going to be they're just not
49.
49. I don't think they're just consistent enough. And I'm looking for the Eagles to bounce back on this game. I know the Raiders are favored, but I like the Eagles' chances here.
Yeah, I do too. I think things get better here. I think Miles Sanders actually has a good game this week. I know you guys know how much I hate that man. So for me to be saying he's gonna have a good game, it's true. He's gonna get a lot more involved. I think there's gonna be over 10 targets / rushes for him. He never really gets rushes, so I think they're gonna kind of establish that early. I've heard some things that's what the game plan is. And yeah, I mean, Jalen Hurts is no joke. He's no joke. You can look at this game at the end of the game and look at the stats and be like, oh, wow, he didn't throw any touchdown passes. He ran for 2. Oh, wow, he only threw for 1 touchdown pass. Those are the casual fans. They don't really see talent on the quarterback spot. When you see Jalen Hurts, you see opportunities. You see a young guy who has every play in his repertoire. Like, he can do a little bit of Lamar Jackson. He can make throws like Patrick Mahomes. Like, he's just getting really, really bad end of the stick here with these terrible game scripts with all the focus on him. So all the focus has been on him. So if they establish the run game here, I think it opens up more. And then the wide receivers need to start catching passes. There's like 6 drop touchdowns. The next closest quarterback has 2 drop touchdowns. So like everything is going against him, but I think he's still playing fairly well. I think the Eagles win this one over the Raiders.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think the Raiders. I'm gonna take the Raiders here. The Raiders are at home. They're only getting the home field advantage in terms of the spread. I was actually surprised at how good they looked post Gruden. I thought there was gonna be a lot of disarray and Derek Carr getting more control of the offense. I kind of like the way the Raiders are headed after post Gruden. I just felt like even though Kenyon Drake got limited touches, right, they were utilizing him in different ways. They were doing things different, giving the quarterback control where he's not force-feeding Darren Waller anymore. Now he spreads the ball, and there's like 4 or 5 guys you have to account for. I think that offense is really, really good, and I think the Eagles are going to have a hard time stopping it. The Raiders are 4-2 despite being 32nd in the league in rushing offense. And that's without a healthy Josh Jacobs pretty much all season. So there's a lot to like here. Now, on the flip side, I also think the Eagles are going to have a great game. I don't think the Raiders' defense is capable of stopping them. Jalen Hurts and the Eagles came into this week, I think, like top 6 in hardest strength of schedule. And Jalen Hurts, from a fantasy perspective, is putting up 25 a game. And the rest of the season, I think they're like 26th. And so things are going to get easier for the Eagles, which means Hurts has been seeing the harder part of the schedule and having to adjust, and a lot of their offense looks sloppy at times, but they're getting the reps, and I think they're going to figure it out. And I think the Raiders it's going to be a good time and an opportunity to do so. I think this game's going to see a decent amount of points, but 3 points at home. I just think the Vegas Raiders are riding high a little bit, and they got some momentum, and I like the way their offense looks. So I'm going to take Vegas. The Texans, the 1-5 Texans, are not going to have a good time here. They're at the Arizona Cardinals, 6-0. We thought the 15-point spread earlier in that game was big. This is 17.5. Arizona is absolutely favored to win this game by 2 touchdowns and a field goal, and then some. Over/under is 47.5. I mean, the Cardinals look absolutely scary. We've already talked about their weapons. They got Zach Ertz. I mean, I don't know. What is there to even have hope about on the Texans side, to be honest?
Yeah, the Cardinals have allowed 20 points or fewer in the 5 games they played this year, and they score over 30 points in all of those games. So it's like there's no chance. There's no chance, Texans. What are you going to do? You're going to run with Mark Ingram? What are you going to do?
Davis Mills is going to dump it off to Mark Ingram? Brandon Cooks is getting open? What's happening? What's the formula here?
I mean, I don't think there is. You just can't stop that firepower of Kyler Murray, DeAndre Hopkins, AJ Green, Christian Kirk, Rondale Moore, Zach Ertz now, like
Max Williams,
Edmonds,
Chase Edmonds,
James
Conner.
Dude, what are you gonna do?
It's like somebody would use them on Madden.
They're the ideal Madden.
Shout out to my Madden team. But
yeah, the Cardinals come in here. They should absolutely just romp fest this game. The Texans just. Again, it's just really tough for them to do anything to get anything going. The schedule is obviously not helping them. They're traveling to the hottest team, the best team in football right now, at home. Vegas clearly sees it the same way. There's literally no chance in Vegas's eyes that the Texans are going to win this game, let alone they're going to get stomped on by 17.5. So I think Kyler's going to do as usual. I already talked about AJ Green being a good pickup. Christian Kirk might be a good pickup and play this week. Zach Ertz is a play. Max Williams might even be a play. I even considered playing James Conner. Because there's so many injuries and the matchup is so favorable. Last week when the Cardinals went up big, Edmonds didn't see carries. Connor saw all the carries because they were winning by a lot. Connor's a serviceable play this week as well. They're not going to lose this game. They're probably going to be up by a lot at some point.
They have to run the ball.
And then they'll just milk the clock. So Cardinals will take care of business there. The Bears, Chicago Bears, are traveling to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Bears coming in 3-3. Tampa Bay is 5-1. Another big spread. Tampa Bay favored by 12.5 points. Over under 47. What's the storyline here?
Yeah, so last year the Bears and the Buccaneers faced against each other. I think they were playing in Chicago. Nick Foles was the quarterback, and the Bears ended up winning 17-16 against Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. However, this year, it's a whole different story. All right,
brand new ball game.
Brand new ball game. Tampa Bay has given up only 9 sacks, which is the 5th fewest in the league. And Bears. Their whole team is basically based off of their defense, right?
Yep.
And led by Khalil Mack. So it's going to be that battle, defensive line versus offensive line. Can they get sacks on Tom Brady, which we have not seen many teams do this year? So it's going to be a tough matchup for the Chicago Bears, and as Vegas suggests, 12.5 spread. So
the Bears, the only thing they're good at is rushing the ball. They're 7th. The Buccaneers are 27th.
Against the run? Or rushing the ball?
Rushing the ball.
Oh, okay.
So they've clearly, they were bad, but last week we saw what they're capable of if they run the ball, just focused on running the ball with Fournette.
Mm-hmm.
1 game sample size. I'm not going to get, not going to lose sleep over it. But it's the number 1 passing offense versus the worst passing offense. So this is just clear as day for me. Like it's going to be, can you keep up? It's a clear situation. Can you keep up? And Justin Fields is not ready to keep up with Tom Brady. He's just not. And it's not just the passing offense. So check this out, okay? So the Buccaneers passing offense is 1st. Their rushing offense is 27th.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, they're 3rd. That means that's how good their passing offense is.
It doesn't fucking matter.
The stats don't get skewed just because of that 27th in rushing. They're that good at passing.
Yeah.
And then the Bears overall, the Bears are 7th in rushing.
Mm-hmm.
They're 30th in offense. Because
they're 32nd in passing.
They're 30. Yeah. So you can see the trend here.
Yeah.
There's one team that all they do is score points and put up yards, and there's one team that all they do is not do that. So no matter how good this Bears defense is, and you guys know how much I like this Bears defense, there's just you can't contain this.
Let me ask you something. So we expect the Bucs to put up points?
Yeah.
Do you think it'll be easy for the Bucs to put up points against the Bears defense?
Not easy. No, at least not in the first half.
Okay. So I'm just wondering if the Bucs are going up early here, does Justin Fields come into play as a possible stream start this week?
If you want 4 interceptions.
I'm just thinking about if they're up a lot, they're going to be just playing from behind. Fields might get a lot of garbage just because of underneath stuff. Mm-hmm. They're just going to not let they're not going to try to let them beat them over the top, right?
What's the line on this game?
12.5.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not this isn't the type of quarterback that I see getting garbage points from unless he runs. But I mean, that's basically it. I'd rather play a guy like Derek Carr with a floor of maybe 15 this week and a ceiling of maybe 30.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to be better than some of the other options. You said Derek Carr. I mean, even Tua.
Right. Yeah, Tua's an option. Sam Darnold's an option against the Giants.
Sam Darnold's an option. So in front of those guys, I don't know.
Matt Ryan.
I put Justin Fields there.
Yeah, the throwing touchdowns are just not there. 32nd in passing. He's had opportunities to do this kind of garbage stuff the last few weeks. Mm-hmm. And he just, they haven't done it. They've been establishing the run, which has been working, but this is not the game to establish a run. So all you Herbert owners out there, I'm sorry. This may not work out in your favor. You might get a quick touchdown at some point with Herbert. Damon Williams is still in the picture. He probably won't get to play, but we won't find that out until Saturday night. So, I mean, for fantasy purposes, I am staying the heck away from the Bears this game, and I'm going all in on the Buccaneers side, except Antonio Brown is questionable, and it seems like a pretty serious injury. It's an ankle injury. He actually injured it during the game, came back, did well, but that ankle hadn't swollen up yet. They just taped it up, and then the next day, that shit goes swolls up, and he hasn't practiced. So it's a slight concern, and they might not even use him because they know they can just aerial attack.
Destroy this.
So you Antonio Brown owners out there like myself, be wary. There's a good chance. Probably over 50% chance he doesn't play. But again, it's Thursday. These are superstars we're talking about. Antonio Brown has done way worse and he comes and plays. So keep an eye out for that.
Yeah. Should be good. Buccaneers should take care of business. Drop the Bears to 3-4 in our division, which will be nice.
Big Fournette day. Fournette day.
Yeah,
again.
Fournette's looked really, really good recently.
He
Credit
has.
to Leonard Fournette. He got thrown into an offense where they were like, you just don't need to do much. We have another guy there with Rojo as well, so like take some pressure off. But all of his touches, he just the one thing I always think when I see him play is he's trying really hard.
Yeah.
Like, and it sounds awful because he's producing, right? It's just he was drafted 4th overall for out of LSU with like Adrian Peterson type aspirations, right? And clearly he hasn't lived up to that. And at some point he was kind of a joke, right? He's just like he wasn't cutting it with the Jags, and they were looking to trade him. But right now he's carved a really nice rollout for himself, and he looks good. He's quick. He's making guys miss. He's productive, fantasy relevant. So credit to Leonard Fournette there. You're not all laughs, bro. Sunday Night Football takes us to the Colts. The Colts are traveling to San Francisco to take on the 49ers. Jimmy G should be back. They're 2-3. The Colts are 2-4. Francisco.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yep.
Von Miller's X-rays just came back and they're negative, so he didn't break anything.
Okay.
MRIs will be done tomorrow to see if he tore anything.
Okay. And based on what we saw, we think it's more
MCL.
leaning towards a MCL. Jimmy G is expected to return here. They're favored by 4 at home. Over/under sitting at 44. I know Colts have been up and down. They looked good against a really shitty Texans team. Actually saw some good offense for once. Jonathan Taylor's been like their lone bright spot. He's looked good all year. The 49ers have question marks obviously there as well with a bunch of injuries, but Jimmy G is back. Jimmy G is interesting because when he's really, really healthy, he's obviously good enough to get the job done. But anything short of 100% Jimmy G, I think, is pretty bad.
Yeah.
So if he's not 100%, this could be sloppy. But what are you guys seeing in this one?
Yeah, I mean, San Francisco is coming off of a bye week. It's almost like I forgot what they're like.
It's been a whole week.
Yeah, what is this team like? And we've been seeing Trey Lance, so it's gonna be different seeing Jimmy Garoppolo. But when he was there, he wasn't consistent. He wasn't accurate. This is one of those games where I've seen more just better from the Colts than I have seen from the 49ers to say that 49ers are going to win this game. And that -4 spread, it doesn't, I'm not really sure what that's all about.
This feels like a trap game to me. I feel like the Colts have gained a large, sizable momentum going into this game. But again, they're not healthy. Colts are not healthy. They're losing a lot. They have not that many defensive players. Even their best defensive player is injured. He's probably going to play, and Darius Leonard. I'm watching 2 defenses here. This game is going to be a battleground. This is going to be insane. Where it's probably 2 out of the top 6 linebackers in the game. Darius Leonard and Fred Warner going at it, taking control of their teams. And the 49ers actually, I know they don't explode and whoop teams very much, but they're second on defense. They're doing their part. They're just not scoring enough points with this whole offense situation they got going on. They need more weapons on offense than just Deebo Samuel. Ayuk's just a no-namer, and they keep using this rushing attack. But I think they're slowly realizing that, the last year's 49ers could just use rushing attacks and win games. But, this year that hasn't panned out very well.
There's just not enough depth, I think.
Yeah. I don't know. Elijah Mitchell he's not crazy impressive yet either, right? So they've been hit with injuries, and the 49ers have been doing a good job over the years with just plugging and playing running backs because they fit the scheme and they can still be productive. But like you said, it hasn't been the recipe. The quarterback's been kind of a carousel with Trey Lance playing next week, and now he's hurt. Jimmy G's back. And so you just asked, what are the 49ers like? Yes, they were off a bye, but it's also more to that is they don't have an identity right now.
Right.
What is the 49ers identity? Because their identity has always been run, play good defense. And again, they're playing good defense, not consistently running the ball. Outside of Deebo Samuel, there's really nowhere to throw. Kittle's been hurt. Ayuk's been disappeared. So
for the last 3 games since week 4, so week 4, week 5, week 6, Carson Wentz has the highest passer rating in the NFL.
Wow.
Yeah.
Who they play outside of the Texans?
The
Ravens. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who did they play? I was just trying to. What are you gonna say?
The Ravens and then
the Rams,
Ravens, Texans, and there's one other team. But anyways, he's gonna tie.
So he's gonna tie Peyton Manning, and Andrew Luck, and some old timer for the most 100+ passer rating for in a span of 4 games or
That's
something
it?
like that. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's not very impressive.
But I mean, if you're in that same category as Andrew Luck, and
there's always stats out there that put you in favorable categories.
4-game sample size, I always because we'll see. I mean, I don't think he's gonna pass for that rating this game because again, 49ers defense is pretty stout. But yeah, what were you gonna say?
No, I look at that. I'm like, Carson Wentz kind of dropped when he was with the Eagles. It's like, what happened to Carson Wentz? And then like now we're seeing like the resurgence of him, and you could have like back to back to back to back. That was 4 games.
Yeah, I mean,
100 plus rating.
I vocalized.
I'm excited for him.
Me too. I vocalized how much I actually like Carson Wentz. He's not like I'm gonna go get him right now, but I am also aware that the Eagles anybody would get sacked on that offense when they did have Carson Wentz. Yep. He was just their bait to die back there. But yeah. So one thing I gotta mention is the 49ers are 1-9 at home since 2020. Jeez. That's last year. They're not winning.
They have no home field advantage.
They have no home field advantage.
It's crazy.
It's only 46% or something like that.
46.8. Yeah.
And it's minus 4.5.
Minus 4.
Yeah, they're favored by 4.
Yeah, they're favored by 4.
Yeah, I like the Colts a lot here. Actually, the more we're thinking about this.
Yeah, I've been writing down everything we've been choosing because there's been a lot of like differences today. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna go ahead and jot this one down.
I know it seems like we're taking the underdogs, or at least I am. I'm like taking too many underdogs, and I need to go back and be like, wait, hold on,
yeah,
something's not right here.
Yeah,
but
it's again, it's betting. There's if betting could be done consistently better than 50%, people would easily be making money, right? So what you see on paper is not always what happens, and so there's a reason for every game in which it could go the opposite way. So this will be an interesting game because it could go two ways. I feel like the 49ers, at times where they look decimated, they somehow have really like dominating performances out of nowhere, and you're like, okay, I didn't expect that. Like they'll throw in Nate Mullins.
That's absolutely right.
Yeah, they'll throw in Nate Mullins at quarterback and then like win 2 games. You know, so they have this weird tendency to do things like that. They're at home, which clearly hasn't been to their benefit. Yeah. And we expected more out of the Colts, and outside of again the most recent couple of weeks, they've been kind of a letdown. So Colts could be trending in the right direction. That's going to be fun on Sunday night. But jumping into the last game, Monday night, the New Orleans Saints are going to be traveling to Seattle. They're taking on Geno Smith and the Seahawks, who are now 2-4. Saints are 3-2, coming off a bye week. Saints are favored by 4.5. Over under at 42.5. Seahawks, right? I mean, no Russell Wilson. Geno Smith, I mean, kind of played exactly how we thought. Maybe even better considering the fact that he didn't throw a single interception.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, there was not a lot of productivity in the way he played, in the sense that, like, he wasn't getting the ball accurately to guys like Tyler Lockett, whose stock is completely dropped in fantasy because of it. We talked about the running back situation there with, Carson on the IR, Collins hobbled but maybe playing, Penny coming back. What are we seeing here from the Seahawks with Geno Smith? Can they get by until Russell Wilson's back to still, be in the playoff picture? Or do you guys...
Geno Smith has never won a game since 2014. Right? Yeah. I mean, this is my leader that I'm using, and I'm going up against the number 4th defense.
Yep.
My defense is 32nd.
Yeah.
Okay? But what helps Geno Smith is the Saints offense is 31st. So it's a 31st ranked passing offense versus a 32nd ranked defense.
Wow.
So it's like if you're gonna try to make accurate projections this game, you're gonna be so off. There's just so much room for anything can happen. This is like a perfect example of possibly DK Metcalf getting 4 touchdowns type of game.
Yep.
So it's like a very, be aware of these type of games. These aren't very clear cut like the ones we've been mentioning earlier. When you have bad defenses and bad offenses, that equals turnovers. That equals a lot of different types of plays happening.
Yeah. What's going to come out on top? Is the defense going to be so bad that even a bad offense is going to look good? Or is the offense so bad that it's going to make a shit defense look formidable? So something's got to give. 4.5 points. The Seahawks did keep it close with the Steelers last week. Shovit, do you see them covering this spread maybe?
Yeah, so that's you look at that, it was like what, 21-24 game, and you're like, oh, the Seahawks only lost by 3 points. Yeah. And it's like, but the Steelers didn't do their part about stopping that run offense with Alex Collins. Alex Collins kind of had his day over 100 yards. And even with like an average Geno Smith performance, because that offense wasn't scoring points, we were giving the ball back to the Seahawks. It's that's 21-24 score doesn't really show what the Seahawks are about, which I don't think is much. So with the Saints, you've got a quarterback that 1 week could do really well for you, and then 1 week could do not really well, right? And so the Seahawks defense, as far as their secondary, not so great either. So this is one of those games that I expect James Winston to have a solid game and lead the Saints to win.
Yeah, I would agree. So this is a crazy stat, but Jameis Winston has he's thrown a passing touchdown on 10.3% of his attempts, which is the highest rating for a quarterback this season. And not just this season, but in the Super Bowl era.
What?
Yeah, every 10 passes he throws. So they're not. It's not that their offense is bad. It's that they're not having to throw the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why, because it's not like Kamara's having a great day. But I feel like this is a huge Kamara day coming.
Mm-hmm.
When you have Alvin Kamara going up against a 32nd ranked defense, that's you got to salivate for that one.
Run. Taysom Hill might even look good.
I don't know if he's going to play. He's probably not going to play. Honestly.
Oh, really? Is he hurt?
Yeah. Remember, he got a huge concussion.
Oh, that's right, the concussion. I mean, I expect Kamara to feast. I do see with the battered Seahawks secondary, there could be some over the top throws to like Harris or Callaway, even some bombs there. So that does seem kind of like a premonition when I'm thinking about this game. Is I do see Jameis Winston kind of trying to take the top off there. And the Seahawks just offense, I don't think is going to be able to keep up.
Yeah, I think they're gonna have to come from behind it. I'm looking at it like a 30-27 kind of game.
You think it'll stay that close?
33-27.
Okay, 6-point game, so the Saints cover. But yeah, I don't know. The defense is too good. The Seahawks offense, Geno Smith is so hard to trust. There's nothing you've seen from him to be like, okay, there's something that we can kind of build off of, right? Like he is who he is at this point, and it's just not. It's the NFL. I just don't think it's enough. And the Saints defense is good. It's not an average defense. It's not a bad defense. And so they played this. He played this Steelers, and now he's going up against the Saints. It's just not getting easy for him.
Right.
So that's a Monday night. That's going to wrap up the slate of Week 7 games. Again, should be really, really fun. Sucks that we all got to watch it from different places this week, but we'll still be keeping up with all of these social medias. Let's end the show with the last thing, our Survivor picks. So we are officially 6 weeks into Survivor picks. Shote is going first this week. You're 5-1. Shovit, you're 4-2. Your Bills crushed you there Monday night. That was tough, and I'm sitting at 6-0. But Shote, you're picking first. You've already taken the Texans. You've taken the Pats. You've taken the Broncos. Mm-hmm. You've taken the Titans. You've taken the Ravens, and you've taken the Chiefs. Who are you taking this week?
And now I'm going to go with an easy call, probably the easiest call of the week. I'm going to go with Arizona Cardinals over the Houston Texans.
Boom. At home, 17.5-point favorites. We like that pick. Shovit, what do you got?
Yeah, for me, I am looking at the Green Bay Packers this week at Lambeau Field. I'm going to pick Aaron Rodgers and Green Bay Packers.
Cool. You like the Packers against the Washington football team. I like that. So I'm going to try to take a team off the board here that maybe I won't pick for the rest of the year. I'm going to go ahead and take D-Rudge's Atlanta Falcons. They are going to be at the Miami Dolphins. I think the Dolphins are in a disarray, but they're on the road. Both bad teams. Any which week, a bad team could beat another bad team. But let's ride with Atlanta this week. I'm going to take the Falcons. So
nice.
That'll be my Survivor pick. So you have
Cardinals.
You have the Cardinals. You have the Packers. I have the Falcons. And that's going to wrap it up for episode 13 this week, guys. Again, Week 7 preview. Can't wait to jump into the football games this weekend. Looks like the Browns are still up 17-7. 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Denver is first and goal at the Cleveland 10 here, though.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Melvin Gordon territory.
There could be a touchdown or a field goal, bring them back to one score. Thank you guys so much for all the support, social media engagement. 3 days until football, so Twitter. Updates. Turn those notifications on. If you see this video, like, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your grandmas, tell your grandpas, tell all of your family about the Only Playbook. We'll see you on Monday.